Hey everybody, I'm back. I went live for a few minutes, but I got a stupid itch on my leg that keeps annoying the heck out of me. And also, my phone started ringing, and it was just a very annoying situation, so I figured instead of having that mess up, I must have got bitten by something outside, but it's so annoying. It felt like something bit me in that last stream. I went like this and slapped my leg, and so, anyways, this update is really, like I said before, if you caught that stream, I only think one person was watching, but I've bought like 60 things, maybe 50 or 60 things over the last 6 months. These are just some of the specialty type items that I've bought, and so I figured I'd just show them off. I picked them out of my collection because these are the specialty ones like Kino, Criterion, Arrow, and Twilight Time. So I guess first I'll start with Arrow. And the first one is from Arrow Video. The second one's from Arrow Academy, which is the same company, just different, different releases. A different brand of, different, you know what I'm trying to say. So the first thing up is William Friedkin's Cruisin with Al Pacino. This is really the only home video release that William Friedkin actually approves of, and that's the only one that he likes to do. He's been promoting. He says every other version of this film home video release he does not endorse. I actually saw this film on DVD for the first time like years back, and I thought it was pretty damn good. So popped this in, and it is a director's cut of some kind, and he handled some of the special production of this Blu-ray and all that kind of stuff. So I like this film a lot. It's so controversial. Basically, Al Pacino is a detective that goes undercover in the gay community, specifically like the underground clubs, and so he's dresses in leather to try to goes and tries to fit in. Very controversial because of the way that the gay community is presented in this film. So it is problematic to an extent, but I don't think that that was the intent. So Al Pacino gives a phenomenal performance in this film, and I highly recommend it if you're into dark, gritty crime thrillers, and that's exactly what this is. He's trying to find a murderer, somebody who's murdering gay men, picking them up and killing them. So that's what he does. So yeah, Cruisin. The second one is from Arrow Academy, and this is one of my all-time favorite films by one of my all-time favorite directors. Probably as of this moment right now, he is my favorite director. Obviously Hitchcock and Scorsese, and those guys I love. But right now, at this second, Billy Wilder is my favorite director. So I have the Arrow Academy release of The Apartment, the Best Picture winner of 1960. Basically, it's a guy played by Jack Lemmon who isn't a low life, but he has very low self-esteem and all this kind of stuff, and so he just wants to get ahead in life, and so he's being used by his work, all his bosses, to use his apartment for mistresses and all this kind of stuff, and so that's what the plot sets in motion, is that he just keeps renting out his apartment every night just so bosses can end up cheating on their wives in his apartment. It's just a place to go, and he kind of gets promoted in the meantime. They'll put in a good word for him at the at the HR department or whatever, and so he meets Shirley MacLaine, who works there as well. She's one of the elevator girls, and a little twist happens, and so he starts to fall in love with her, and it's all the stuff that goes on in between. But this movie is kind of like, a lot of people label it as a comedy, but I think it's a damn good drama. Yes, the Aquarian. This is live. So yes, The Apartment. Next up is another Billy Wilder film that I have fallen in love with, and it is, I mean, I just love all of his films, and this is one of my favorites as well. The Fortune Cookie. This is Twilight Time's release, and so I definitely had to pick this up because, first of all, it's one of my favorite films. It's the first time that Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau got together for a film. Billy Wilder is a genius as always. I love this film. Basically, Jack Lemmon plays a cameraman for, I think, CBS or one of the big companies, and he's injured while filming a football game. And he's not seriously injured. He goes to the hospital to get checked up on, like check for a concussion and all that kind of stuff. But his brother-in-law is a lawyer, ambulance chasing lawyer played by Walter Matthau, and he's like, I think this guy can make us some money. And so he has him fake this injury and try to sue the football and CBS and all this stuff. And it's a very great black comedy just about like what people do for money, like greed. Phenomenal performances. I'm so glad I have this release, and it looks pretty damn good. Twilight Time, I know this cost me probably about $40. Being one of my favorite films, this is a limited, 3,000 units were made. I had to get it. I have to own this film on Blu-ray, and I just love it. So it was worth it. I think I used like Christmas money or something like that. That's it for the Arrow ones. Now the next up, I'm not really going to go hardcore into this one because a lot of people have already heard about it. This one's from Kino, and it's Judgment at Nuremberg. Phenomenal cast, phenomenal film. Maximilian Schell won Best Actor, and this is all top billing actors right here. He's one of the last top billed actors, yet he won the Oscar for Best Actor, and he did pretty damn good as the defending lawyer for Nazi judges that are on trial in Nuremberg. So phenomenal film. Let me close that. My battery is getting lower on my phone, so I gotta make these next few titles quicker. Judgment at Nuremberg. Next up is, I went through a really big Albert Brooks phase like a couple months back, and so I had to pick up some of the Albert Brooks movies that are on Criterion. First one I picked up was Lost in America. Basically, two yuppies quit their jobs and go and hit the road in an RV, sell everything they have, hit the road in an RV, and things don't quite work out. Great film, hilarious, and definitely worth a watch. I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm glad I bought it on Criterion instead of like just watching it on TV and then buying it. Like, I'm glad I blind bought it. It was worth the blind buy. Next up is the James L. Brooks film starring Albert Brooks, William Hurt, and Holly Hunter, Broadcast News. I'm a huge sucker for anything news related. I'm a huge sucker for anything that's Albert Brooks, especially James L. Brooks. Great filmmaker. Terms of Endearment destroys me every time I see it. I actually can't watch it all that much because it's so depressing. As Good as It Gets, Spanglish. He co-created The Simpsons, a bunch of other things. Just a great film. I love it. Next up, we have Klute, starring Jane Fonda in an Oscar-winning performance and Donald Sutherland. This is kind of like one of the Alan J. Palooka, who directed All the President's Men and a few other films, but he was really great at like the paranoia of things with film. And basically, Donald Sutherland plays a private detective who's investigating murders of prostitutes, and so he teams up with Jane Fonda basically to help. She's basically used as bait to try to find this killer of prostitutes, and it's such a brilliantly acted movie. Jane Fonda is, I would say this is like her best performance in a movie, and I just think that she did a phenomenal job, and Donald Sutherland's performance is very understated, and I think that's just what's so great about his acting. Sometimes he could just be so quiet, and you know that he's serious. So, last and certainly not least, I got Anatomy of a Murder, which is a film that I've actually tried watching like many times in my life, and I always kept falling asleep. I finally blind bought it because I'd never finished it, and loved it. Watched it from beginning to end. You know, Jimmy Stewart is basically my favorite actor of all time, other than Michael Keaton, of course. And, you know, George C. Scott in a very early role. Basically one of the best trial movies ever made. And it's so phenomenal. Glad I own it. It's an Otto Preminger film. He has done many other films, but in terms of acting, he was the commandant in Stalag 17, which is one of my favorite films of all time as well. So he also did Exodus. I forget. And Laura. I'm pretty sure he did Laura, which is a great film noir. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, I got so many movies over the last few months. I'm not going to go through every single thing that I've gotten. So I just went ahead and got all my specialty label stuff. Why did I say that so loud? Specialty label stuff, and wanted to make sure that I showed them off. And I want to start going live and stuff like this more often, just because, you know, I miss hanging out with you guys, miss making videos. And so this is probably the way to do it for right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you've seen some of these titles down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.